This is a review of Grey Wolf by Battlefront and Flames of War. This is the late war Eastern Front German book. For those of you that have Earth and Steel or some of the other new books, this one is superior. I'm sorry to say. I feel bad that I have the Earth and Steel. Even though Earth and Steel is still an awesome book, Grey Wolf is just leaps and bounds beyond everything right now. I really think it is the premier German book right now. Even if you have the old books and you're a German player, this is a must-buy. They really did a good job, and they made the Germans, I think, much better. I'm very excited to play them and play against my Russian friends. So, taking a look at the inside, superior quality, as Battlefront is starting to be known, especially for the hardback books. The binding looks very strong. Hopefully we can avoid any popped out pages like we do on the soft covers. Even though their soft covers are doing much better, but Hell's Highway seems to be giving everybody a problem. You've got the forces, and you've got Hungarians and the Finns in here too with the Germans. And they have very good lists too. I was very impressed by them. I may try out the Finns because they look like a lot of fun. Here is a really fun list. I guess you pronounce it Bake. Looks like Bake, but it's got that little double thing on top of the A. So I'm not sure exactly what it is, but it's basically just tigers and panthers, oh my, type of list. You want to bring the monstrous tanks into play. This is your list. As with most lists, you got Confident Veteran on your Germans. For almost all the lists, Grenadier companies. Let's see here. As we go through Operation Bagration, the Sturm Division, I thought they would nerf them a little bit because everybody thought that they were overpowered. Of course, a lot of people thought they were overpowered in version 2. They made them better. Yes, Sturm Company is even better than it was before. Of course, they're loaded up with Panzerfaust, Panzerschrecks, Stugs, Tigers, fortifications, which I think are an improvement now. Not much better, but I thought they would go down. They actually got better. They got better priced. So if you were a Sturm Company fan or you hate the Sturm Company, then this is big news for you. You got a Stug battery. Now Stugs, and I'll talk about it later if you didn't watch my Russian video, they can have tank escorts, which are awesome. I wish I played with a lot of Stugs, but I only have 2 to my name right now, but I'm thinking about picking up another list. Then you got the Schwerpanzer Company. Something that was interesting about this, and I don't know how it was in the old books, but if you have Tiger 1s in the headquarters, you have to have all Tiger 1s in your combat platoons. So if you have Tiger 2s, then you got to have Tiger 2s here. So that was a little disappointing. I'm used to the Western Front books where they don't do that. And so, yeah, that's what they got. Panzer Company, Standard Panzer Company, and the list that you're used to having for Germans: the armored infantry, the non-armored infantry, the recons, all pretty standard. They've got this Pioneer Company that's confident trained. Something that I noticed in this book: the Germans have everything in there except for conscripts. And if you want conscripts, then you go to the Hungarians, where I believe they've got fearless conscripts. Here's where you get into the interesting Panzer Konen, or I really don't, Kanonen, however you pronounce that. I don't have the Eastern Front books, and when I saw this, and I know it's in the old book, so for you veterans, it's not a big deal, but I'm really excited about this. This looks really cool. I want to see how it plays out on the board. The interesting thing about the SS is that they're not just fearless veteran, but they're also fearless trained. Every time I saw an SS company, I saw those two. You have those 2 options for fearless veteran, fearless trained, basically showing you that they took so many casualties that they had to make replacements, and the SS took so many casualties that some of their divisions were built around veterans, but with a lot of new guys, and so they got a trained rating, which is good because then you have more options. So I mean, I noticed that in the German list they've had reluctant veteran, they have reluctant trained, they have confident trained, confident veteran, fearless trained, fearless veteran. Every combination except for conscript. So I thought that was really neat that you have all those different options depending on what you want to play. And the Panzer Kanonen are only on this fearless train, which is a bit of a bummer, but because they're a special ability, they can overcome it, which I think is really cool. Alright, so getting through the SS, here's a I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. You got a reluctant trained German company. These guys were the security company, and there's the train. Some people are talking about that. It looks pretty good. Same rules, or it looks similar to the Polish train, if you're familiar with Blitzkrieg. And then this is the, I believe, the Stalin's Europe part, where you can get all those Panzer 470s in there. I wanted to find, I don't know what I did with it, but there's a reluctant veteran that I thought was, there it is, the Sperver Band, reluctant veteran. But these guys, when they attack tanks, they're actually fearless, so they're not as weak as you may think at first, and they're really well equipped. I like the way that this is set up. They have a lot of good options on there, so that's one that I'm looking to play. Since this is a compilation, they put everything in there together. Oh, before I forget, one of the really good units, and it's in the core support. Oh, let me get to this first. I like this Booby Trap. I think it's a really cool idea. They changed the Booby Trap from being basically a minefield within a building to just taking small bases, and you can put it underneath as long as it's in a certain zone. You can put that small base even underneath a tank or an infantry company or something. They got to do a skill check if they move off of it, or they can get blown up. So the Booby Trap rules, I really like them. Makes me want to play a fortification company just to try out the Booby Traps. But I think the Booby Traps are cleaner now and more fun. The veteran tank hunter platoons. Wow. Hetzers, these Pack 40 things. Again, I'm not sure how it's going to really play out on the battlefield, but I was looking at the rules and I thought it was just so cool that these guys basically keep their rate of fire, that whenever they move within, let's say, a wheat field or a forest or a fence line or something, they can maneuver and still keep their rate of fire. So, you know, you can move them, let's say they're in here, and move them into the forest so they can't be seen, then move them back out and they could splash everybody with their rate of fire. As long as they stay within the same feature. If they go from one wheat field to another, then they lose that feature. They have to stay within that same one. And this is on an ambush, I believe. So that's something I'm looking forward to playing. Just a lot of really cool new rules for the Germans. I was really happy. Unfortunately, they only have sporadic air support, and that's a big bummer. Because I hear that the rules for the air may get a little bit better for them. Of course, the Germans have just tons and tons of weapons, and they've got a lot of special rules too. Let me just go back through here. Of course, a lot of them will be familiar, like Stormtrooper, Conf Group, Mission Tactics, the Tiger, Scherzen, so forth. Tank Escorts are new, and I go over this in the Russian because it's more for them, but if you run mechanized infantry, you will become familiar with this, because now with the mounted assault, they have changed that a little bit, where you don't have to jump out and the transports don't have to run away. They can stay in there, excuse me, and the armored Basically what happens is if you have one guy in your transport, it counts as a tank team. So they get whatever you want to call it, tank terror, whatever, against infantry. So they get that. If they have two guys in the transport, then it's considered a tank team with tank escorts. Really cool. I just grabbed myself a whole bunch of new half-tracks just to take advantage of this rule. Really excited about that. They made the armored infantry of the Germans actually, I mean, they were good before, but now they are really useful. Basically, they go into contact just like they did before, but now they're considered tank teams, and they'll get an extra swing because they have the tank escorts on them. So these transports now, instead of just rolling once to get in there, they'll now roll twice if they have two guys in there. And that is a really good deal. Unfortunately, though, if the transport gets blown up, then your guys get blown up in an assault, so you got to be careful of that. But and also, if you get defensive fire, hit 5 times, everybody falls back. So they're not big-time tank teams because they have that open top, but they're going to be a lot more powerful. Tank escorts, just briefly, a couple of special things. They, if you have tank escorts, and the only ones that I know that have them are the Stoogs. The Stoogs and the mechanized infantry can get these tank escorts. So they're not as prominent with the Germans as they are with the Russians, unless you use a lot of mechanized infantry. And so basically, they just add a capability. It's not an extra team on there. It's just like a sword or an extra machine gun. You know, I said a sword if you play fantasy, or 40K, you put on a different option. It's just an option that you put on there. It's not an actual team that can get off and run around. Of course, you know, with the mechanized infantry, they can be, but if you put them on a Stoog, you know, let's pretend this is a Stoog, and you've got tank escorts on there. They can't get off and kind of go off on their own. I would just model them, and they would basically stay there. And they give an extra capability that when they assault, they get an extra swing. Also, if somebody's within 4 inches, they didn't move, shoot, and they're in concealing terrain, then they can, you know, the tank wouldn't get defensive fire, but these guys do. So you may get a chance to push them back before they can do a good assault. Also, another big thing is if you go to a forest and you don't want to bog down, you can just send these guys in and get 1 swing on the guys you're assaulting instead of 2, but then you don't have to check to see if you bog down. The bad thing is that you get 1 less swing, and if the tank gets blown up, these guys get blown up. They don't count, you know, every single hit. Let's say these guys are fighting, every single hit will go on the tank, and they try to blow up the tank, and if they blow up the tank, then these guys go with it, because they're not really a separate team. So tank escorts, really awesome addition to the game. I'm very pleased. I'm glad they did that. Breakthrough gun, now Germans get some of the breakthrough guns. They keep all their other stuff that you are. They cleaned up the motorcycle reconnaissance. I think they did a good. I'm not too familiar with them, but it looks like they did a good job there. And then you have special rules like the SS, 3rd SS, 5th SS, and you can choose if you want Danish or Fleming, or is that Danish? Yes, Danish or Flemish. And then the other SS divisions get their own special rules that they can do. And then the obligatory, humongous German arsenal that you can get on there.